Alright, it is time for the final martial artist build that I'll be doing, or rather the guide that I'll be doing at least. Obviously, I haven't finished the Underworld yet. I'm about a quarter of the way through it. I've been making progress slowly because I've been trying to get this guide done. I think I've worked like maybe 20, 30 hours on this guide, so hopefully people will appreciate it. Anyway, uh, this is going to be a little bit of an extension of what I did a couple days ago. I have 7-piece Ninigi and 6-piece Susano. Now what you want to do here is you want to stack key damage. So you can stack melee key damage and active key damage. Having a balance of both is nice because, at least with these two weapons that I'm using, especially the fists, the fist can chain any active into any other active. So having a lot of active key damage is a little bit more attractive and optimal with these two weapons than maybe some of the other weapons in the game. So I actually got a Purity Tonfa earlier today, actually, while I was working on the guide, and this is pretty good. It's got Purity and it has melee key damage. So for Ninigi's Grace, you get 15% active key damage and 30% melee key damage, and then you also get Finishing Flare AA, and this gives you just more damage when you attack a winded enemy. Now, for your armor, you're going to want to also stack active and melee key damage. Now, you're going to get a lot less active key damage than melee key damage, so if you're trying to play a martial artist person like I am, then you'll definitely want to have more of a balance, but if you're trying to run this with other weapons, then maybe you can get by with just what's here. Also, one thing that's really important is that you have melee damage versus zero key enemy on both of your accessories. This will give you about 40% extra damage when they're out of key. So when you figure you're stacking all this key damage, you're going to be really laying on the hurt, especially with the fists, because they can stack a bunch of damage really quickly, especially with the new move, Beyond Infinity. So I have not finished just yet. I was gonna wait until I finished this, but you know how this game is right now. It's just a cornucopia of 5,000 layers of RNG. I did the best I could. This is actually the maximum stack that I have right now. I have, as you can see here, I have 75% melee damage, key damage, and 41% active key damage. Now what's also nice is there are a couple ways you can do your Guardian Spirit, so let's go into that before I go into some probably bad gameplay. It's really easy to get carried away with this build, so you definitely are going to have to pay attention. You're going to be using light armor, and you're going to be stacking Ultimate Courage. I hear that Ultimate Strength also gives you an extra 10% key damage. I tried to get that today, but ended up failing. So for your Guardian Spirit, there are a number of choices. Obviously getting a Purity, Tonfa, or Fists with the right Grace and the Star for the key damage is easier said than done. So if you do have one with Purity, then I would recommend going for, this one, the Guardian Spirit Talisman, or the Fleeting Guardian Amulet. That will actually summon the Guardian Spirit. This one does a bunch of lasers at a single target, so it's really good for boss killing. You can just pop this, whether you're in Yokai Spirit or not, via the Talismans, the Amulet, or triangle and circle while you're in Yokai Shift, and this will pretty much proc Purity all the time. Alternatively, you can use this, which is more of an AoE one, but I would not recommend using this on bosses because it's really easy for them to get out of it, whereas, you can pretty much weave these into a combo, sort of, if you dash back. But if you do have at least one source of Purity, I would recommend going with Yumehami. This gives you an extra 20% melee key damage, so you're going to be stacking it like crazy. Now, the problem is it's Phantom. I have, like, about 200 hours in this game, and I played with Feral the entire time. Feral is generally what people consider to be the best Yokai Spirit type, mostly because the counter is a mixed bag. There definitely are a lot of red attacks that you can't counter, because the mechanic doesn't work properly with the Feral dodge, or the Feral burst counter. but the Phantom one is the best one for key damage right now. So you'll definitely want to go for that. Other than that, I don't think there's really that many other choices. Guardian Spirits are not as strong in this game as they were in the first one because you can't level them up anymore. So, like I said, if you want AoE, then I would recommend using this one. Actually, no, it's Sohaya. Sorry. Sohaya is the AoE one for the lasers, or the purity, and then O is the... I might have this mixed up, but either way, you can alternate between these two. Sohaya is the laser one, and this one is the AoE one. But if you have a source of purity, I would recommend going for this because you're already stacking key damage as it is. You're going to want the extra 20%. Now for cores, there's a number of options you can use. Right now, let me pull it up here. Right now I've got Gozuki, which is a pretty common one. I actually was lucky enough to find a core that had extra key damage, so if you've got a bunch of trash cores in your inventory, you can definitely try to stack a little bit more key damage here too. In terms of my scroll, this is the farming one that everybody's using. This is the 2 boss one. I must have done like, I don't know, like 30 runs of this today. I was lucky enough to get Ultimate Courage and Active Key Damage. Ideally, in that 3rd slot, I would like Ultimate Strength. I'm sure there's one that just has both of those innately, but it's really hard to find them, especially since most people are sharing them privately through Discord or DMs or whatever. Not many people are doing them publicly. This scroll definitely circulated a lot today because I sat in here for like an hour. This is actually where I got my Purity Tonfa. So you definitely want to stack some key damage here too. Ideally, if you can get a scroll of the Nioh, I would recommend trying to get one that has at least Ultimate Courage on it, and then maybe some key damage. That way you should have another 3 slots to work with that will give you more key damage, and then maybe you can try to get Ultimate Strength. Ultimate Strength was buffed in this last patch that they did. I'm sure there's going to be bug fixes, but they buffed a lot of the other Ultimate fixes because pretty much all of them paled in comparison to Courage. If you want to see my build, my stat build, I gave myself 150 Constitution. I might try to get Ultimate Constitution, and then the rest are scaled into Courage because, as you can see here, the Corruption Fist that I have, it scales with Courage, so I'm using that right now. Well, actually, I got rid of that somehow. I transferred it to something else, I think. But anyway, you definitely want things to scale off Courage if you can, because that way you can stack everything in one area. So there's one way that you can do that. I actually recommend keeping everything in your inventory right now. Dump it all in the storehouse, because there's a chance that you might find a piece that you like, but you know it's the wrong weight or the wrong grace, and then you can use the grace inheritance or the transform bonus to make everything stack equally. So what you do is you go to an item, you click filtering, and then you search for whatever grace you want. Whatever grace or whatever you're looking for. So for instance, I would want transform bonus. So here's one actually. So let's go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and show the process to do this. It's less necessary to do this now that we have a level cap of 750, which means that you could effectively max. You could get the ultimate stat on actually 5 different stats. Past that point, you get pretty heavy diminishing returns anyway, so you might want to actually go for this and see if it'll work. Okay, turns out I used my my courage scaling on something else when I transferred my grace over. I somehow neglected to notice that after doing like 30 hours of grinding. So I went ahead and respect, but like I said, definitely keep a lookout for anything that has a transform bonus to courage. That way you can effectively, at least with if you're trying to play like me, you can just stack everything into courage to get ultimate courage. But ultimate strength actually does give more key damage now, so you may actually just want to leave it like this. You definitely want to spec in some key as well. Constitution, I hear there are ways to make ultimate constitution work, but I don't have enough experience right now to really to test it. I'm only level 522, so in about 80 levels, I could easily get ultimate constitution as well. But you're also going to run into the issue of actually finding scrolls that can stack all that stuff in the first place. So now everything is going to be pretty much stacking or scaling as it should. So one of the things you want to do to mitigate the RNG is make sure that you have lucky drop on at least one of your accessories. Now you can do weapon, armor, and accessory on one, but you can also split them up. I actually got rid of equipped weapon because this one is what's it called? Sorry, I can't think right now. I've been grinding all day. This one is innate corruption, so I'm looking for a purity one at the moment, and that means that I would not want lucky drop weapon on, because that means that I would just keep getting this, and since it will always roll corruption, it's a fixed stat. If you're looking for purity, then you definitely don't want to do that. It is very easy to temper. On this last patch, they actually made it so that you can craft divine umbracite with a bunch of other materials, including divine fragments. So you're still going to be getting a lot of trash greens. While you're looking for greens too, you definitely want to look for things like this one that has melee damage versus zero key enemy, because you can defile those via the Stone of Penance, and the rates are pretty bad, especially if you're looking for a specific one, but I think ideally the most optimal setup, the best in slot right now, would be melee damage versus zero key, and then sloth on ninjutsu or onmyo. It depends on which one you want to spec in, but apparently that's pretty busted. I've seen a lot of people running with it today during my grinding session. So let me go ahead. I had to respec my build before I do the gameplay, and I'll be right back. Alright, that was my last attempt on this scroll, so I had to keep resetting. Not necessarily because I couldn't clear, but because I don't have any more incense, because I tried to get the best out of this scroll until I can find something better. But yeah, kind of fell apart there at the end. I got hit by too many stray hitboxes, but you can see just how much key damage it's doing. This is on the hardest difficulty. This is, I think, a level 564 scroll, so not like the best of the best, but the scrolls of the damned don't drop until you finish the underworld anyway, and I'm about a quarter through, so this is definitely a pretty good starting point. I think the hardest part is definitely going to be actually optimizing the build, meaning stacking as much active and melee key damage as much as possible. But as you can see, that was with 58% melee and 51% active, so not that bad. Before I go, let's see what the final reroll is going to be for a while. I went through like 20 incense today trying to make this video. You're definitely going to be a glass cannon, so you'll have to get used to that. But I think if you're playing a martial artist build, you're probably already used to that anyway. The problem with this scroll is that the two fixed affixes are pretty trash. But this is the one that everybody's using for farming. It definitely is a good starting point. A lot of people are running it right now. You can jump in the Discord or look on the Reddit or GameFAQs. Those are the three main communities for this game. People will generally be running this. You can roll Ultimate Courage on it, so that's a good starting point. When I have more incenses, which will probably be in a few days, maybe I'll do a little hosting party for this like I did today. I must have circulated the scroll to like maybe 5 or 6 other people today, so you can try your luck in just random search, but it might be relatively hard to find. It's going to fill up pretty quickly. Ideally, you would want Ultimate Courage, Ultimate Strength, and then melee and active key damage. I think that would be best in slot for this kind of build, but who knows if there's a scroll out there like that. I mean, you can infinitely re-roll scrolls, so maybe this one will get there in like 100 re-rolls or something. It's definitely better to start with a scroll that has a better baseline, like at least Ultimate Courage or at least the key damage. I know there's one out there with melee and active key damage, so you may want to try to track that one down and then just re-roll it as much as you can until you get the optimal stats. Anyway, that's my martial artist build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have put about 30 hours of my time into this. I wasn't expecting to get it done today for today's video, but I spent pretty much the whole day working on this. So, hope you guys appreciate it. If you have any other way to help me maximize it or optimize it, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Thanks to the people who commented to give me help, both on GameFAQs, Discord, and on my channel itself.